so I am just finishing up the last couple measurements before we get started here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just getting the rest of my dry ingredients measured. I'm just about done. Okay. And then we're doing a couple teaspoons of baking powder. And then next we're doing, let's see here. We're doing a teaspoon of baking soda. And last but not least, we're doing a teaspoon and a half of pumpkin pie spice, which is a nice mixture of cinnamon and ginger, nutmeg, allspice, cloves, all that good stuff. Got one and a half. Okay, I think we're just about ready to start mixing. Let me double check. I just need to crack my eggs and we're good to go. Okay. Okay, so first thing that we're gonna do is grab a nice large mixing bowl like this. And I'm gonna grab I'm grabbing a sifter like this. And we're going to add all of our dry ingredients into this mixture. So we're adding 2 cups of flour, and I can't remember the metric measurements off the top of my head, so I believe I shared those in a video at some point. I just can't remember which one. Okay, and then next up we have a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons, tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That would have been a bit much. 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Okay, and then we're gonna give this a nice little sift. Can already smell the pumpkin pie spice really well. Okay, and then we have a couple little bits in there. And then that's basically just salt, so I just pop it back in. Okay, and then we're gonna give this just a quick little whisk just to combine. Just like that, not very much. Put that aside for now. And then we're getting out our big mixing bowl here. And to this, we're going to, let me double check. Okay. Couldn't remember if I needed any extract for this one. Okay, we have 1 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. And to that, we're gonna add our 3 whole eggs. All right, let me grab my hand mixer. Okay, and so I'm gonna be mixing with the mixer for about 3 minutes or so. So I'll try to talk, see if you can hear me. But in the meantime, in the comments, I don't know, what's your favorite cupcake? Let's do that. I would like to know what your favorite cupcake is. Taking just a quick pause because I want to scrape down the bowl just to make sure that everything is getting nice and mixed in. Okay, and then we're going to continue mixing for a couple more minutes. It's probably only been about 30 seconds so far. pretty good. So I usually do 3 to 5 minutes mixing on a high speed. And as you should be able to see, it's changed color, and it's also a little bit bigger in volume. It has more bubbles in it. It's because we whipped a nice amount of air in there. That's exactly what we're looking for. Oh, and I was checking the comments while... So my sister says she likes funfetti or lemon. I agree. I especially like lemon. And then my future bro-in-law says free cupcakes, preferably made by you. I appreciate that because he's one of my taste testers. I can't talk today. Oh my gosh. So yes. Okay, so next we are going to add in 1 cup of mayonnaise. This is our fat for this recipe. You can use probably butter or sour cream or oil or something like that, but I really like using mayonnaise because it gets it a super duper moist cake. It is a little more on the dense side, but that's how I kind of prefer my cakes, is more dense and moist than kind of light and dry. I like to scrape down my spatula when I'm working too. Okay, and then our other thing that we're adding right now is our pumpkin puree, and this is 1 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree, which is about a 15-ounce can, or 15 ounces or something like that of pumpkin. I don't know, I get the big cans and I just use them for multiple projects. Okay, scrape down our spatula. And we're gonna mix again. But we don't have to mix as long this time, but we wanna make sure that it's well incorporated into our sugar mixture. Looking good. I'm going to scrape down the bowl just again to make sure everything is incorporated. And I do that one on a lower speed setting because the pumpkin is so moist that it kind of makes, it can get kind of splattery if you're mixing it too high of a speed. I've done that before. Okay, so that is looking really good. Not seeing any more of those white streaks kind of pop up from not everything being mixed together, so I think we're good to go. I'm actually going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. Okay, and now we're ready to add our dry ingredients. So when adding the dry ingredients, I like to add them in about 2 to 3 additions because that helps to have less of a chance of kind of clumping up and having little, pockets of flour in your batter. You definitely don't want that. So I'm going to do it in about 3 additions and then mix on a low speed until it's just combined. We don't want to overmix this because with cake, you don't want to develop the gluten in the flour too much, so you want to do it until it's just mixed together. You don't want to overwork it. that point where there's still some flour along the rim or like the edges right over here, I'm going to stop using the mixer at this point, set it aside for right now. We're still going to use it. And then I'm going to scrape it down. Hold on. And I kind of like to go up like this with the batter. And then scrape everything. And again, we're just making sure everything is mixed. We're not trying to overmix anything. We want a really nice tender cake. We're not making bread. Okay. Add a second addition of our flour mixture here. Stop right there. And repeat the process. Okay. And once again, we're going to scrape down the bowl. Okay. And once again, scrape down our spatula, and we're going to add our third addition of our flour mixture. Third and final, I should say. Okay. And we're going to mix once again until it's just combined. Again, this is on a low speed. We just want to just get it put together. I do that to kind of help clean off my little whisks here. Okay. We're done with our hand mixer. We are just, from this point on, scraping down our bowl, and then we're ready to put it into our pans. Again, making sure everything is just combined. We don't want to use that spatula too much in there because we don't want to make our dough tough. Okay, and we are ready for our cupcake tin. Just cleaning up a little bit right here. Okay. We got our tin. And I grabbed out some perfect cupcake liners for this. Pumpkin spice everything, very suitable. So we're just gonna pop our liners into our tins. Oh, I haven't asked if there's any questions. Let me know in the comments. Type it in the chat. Okay, just a few more. And there we go. I also like that they have little pumpkins on the side too. They're very cute. Okay. So, oh, forgot to show. One thing I like to do to fill cupcake liners is, this is just totally personal preference. Get rid of some flour. I like to take a measuring cup and then add my batter to that and then use that to fill the cupcake liners, and I do it by eye. And I don't know why, this is just the most comfortable way for me to do it. This is kind of after, you know, trying a few things. This is the way that I felt most comfortable with doing that. So you can definitely use, you could use a spoon, you could do a, like a cookie or ice cream scoop. I've seen some people use those. I don't know why this ended up being the thing that I like to do, but I just do. So we got our mixture here, and then we're going to just add some of the batter to our cupcake liners. And we're adding them, or we're adding enough to fill it about 2/3 to 3/4 full because of the mayo being the fat in here. It's like I said, it's a little more of a dense cupcake batter, and so it doesn't rise as much as other cupcake recipes. So that's why I say 2/3 to 3/4 full. And sometimes I'll use the spoon. The pumpkin cupcake batter is a little bit thicker than some of the other batters that can easily run out of the cup. So I will use the spoon to kind of help me out a little bit. I don't want to make a mess, so I'm going to use the spoon right now. I'm going to check the chat while I'm doing this. We are up to date. Again, any questions or anything like that, let me know. I also asked earlier, what's your favorite kind of cupcake? I feel like mine depends on my mood. Well, in my mood, or like what kind of mood I'm in, or I'm actually not as much of a cake person in general. Like I tend to prefer brownies or ice cream. But if I'm gonna have a cupcake, I like one that's filled with a, you know, a unique filling, and then also with buttercream. So it's usually stuff that pops in my head, and then that's what you'll see from my content. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we need our ovens preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what that is in Celsius, but I think it's like 204, but that doesn't sound right. And we're just working on continuing to fill these little cups. I'm going to add a little more batter to my cup. This one definitely needs some more. So the funfetti must be topped with vanilla or funfetti frosting, and the lemon cupcake must be topped with... Wait, the lemon cupcake must be topped with chocolate frosting? I have never tried that kind of cupcake combo. I mean, of course, the funfetti is classic, but I haven't tried lemon with chocolate. Although theoretically that could make sense because orange and chocolate work so well. Blood orange and chocolate work really well. But there's some citrus that I just naturally kind of associate with vanilla. Okay, we're almost done filling our cupcake tins. Okay, and then I usually check and see if I want to add any more to them. And I think going a little more over here. Just a little more, doesn't need too much. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. One more right here. Okay. And then now that we're done with that, they're ready to go in the oven. Sometimes if it's a thick enough batter, I'll kind of like give it a little tap just to kind of level it out. And then we're gonna set that aside. I will post in my stories a little bit later with the complete cupcakes, but I had an idea that I wanted to try for a little while and we're gonna do it together. So I have this donut pan here. And this is to make cake donuts. So I'm going to spray this with some nonstick spray. And clean it up a bit. Alright, because I've been wanting to try and see how just my regular pumpkin cake batter does when making donuts. So I think I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a spoon. You can also use a piping bag. But I find that sometimes, I don't know, it looks a little bit too runny to do that. So we're going to add, bless you. We're going to add with our spoon here. Doesn't take much, and these will puff up a little bit. think with cake donuts, it's kind of like you don't want to fill it too much because it will start to like cover the centerpiece right here. I think this one needs a little bit more. Okay. Does anyone have any kind of favorite cake donuts? I know that's not as popular. I'm actually usually not a cake donut person, but I do like to try them sometimes. I prefer making them though over trying them, but I just because if I'm gonna have a donut, I prefer like either like the yeast kind of raised ones, like those ones are so light and fluffy. But I also do like old fashioned and buttermilk bars because they're dense, but they're so good. Okay, just a little bit more. Let's give it a little tap on the bottom to kind of level them out a little bit. I think those look pretty good. And I only fill them about half to 3 or like half to 2/3 full. Because again, you don't want them to puff up too much or else it's going to start to get like a wonky shape and it won't look as much like a donut. Okay. There's our cake donuts. And I will be posting those as well as these in my stories later so you can see what the final product looks like. And of course, I'll be using these in some upcoming shorts videos. So that's it for our live today. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me see if I missed anything from the chat. Old fashioned, yes, of course. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks again for joining, and I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Keep an eye out for what's to come next week. Have an awesome weekend. Thanks. Bye.